Seriously, who doesn't love a good spaghetti sauce? I just got done eating this, and if you don't make it, you are out of your mind because it is ridiculously delicious and so incredibly simple to make. I know you're gonna love this family recipe. This is an adaptation of my dad's recipe, and it is seriously amazing. I cannot say that enough. To kick this recipe off, we need to knock out a little prep, all right? Sound good? Let's cook. No matter if you call it ragu or spaghetti sauce, it all starts with onions. So I've got some white onions here and we need to medium dice them. So go ahead and slice off each end, cut it in half, and then simply peel off that outer shell of the onion. Now we're going to medium dice. If you need to know how to do this, please check out my video on knife cuts. It'll be extremely helpful and not just for this recipe. And believe it or not, I'm not even crying for cutting all these. Not bad. Finish up the onions, and then what we're going to do at this point is just go ahead and place them in a bowl. This is just going to be easier to transport. Once they're all in there, we are going back over to an extremely large pot. Hit it with some olive oil, probably about 3 tablespoons or so, and we're going to turn the heat down to low. That's right, I said low heat because we want these onions slow and low. So go ahead and add all of these in there. I know it seems like a lot, but I promise you they're gonna cook down and there's not gonna be as much as maybe you might have thought. So go ahead and give it a few stirs, and then when it comes to doing this, you want them to be golden brown. So come back every 5, every 10 minutes, give them a stir, make sure nothing is burning to the bottom. When you take the time to caramelize and brown up these onions, you're going to release all of the natural sugars, and the flavor is going to be absolutely amazing in your spaghetti sauce because you took the time to do this. So let's take one last look. Yep, perfectly golden brown, going to be really nice and sweet. And at this point, you know I'm Italian, so I'm adding in quite a few garlic cloves. I'm going to do 10 here. Go ahead and run it through a garlic press or finely minced. Like I said, I'm sick of chopping garlic in this life, so the garlic press it is, my friends. I'm going to scrape off any last garlic bits there. Then I'm going to simply mix everything in. This is only going to take about 3 or 4 minutes for it to cook, but I wanted to glaze with some red wine. And when it comes to cooking with wine, I was always taught, don't cook with something that you wouldn't drink. So I've got a fairly inexpensive $7.99 bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon that we're gonna pour right into our pot and to glaze all those delicious caramelized onions and garlic with. About 1 cup here. We're gonna cook it until it is reduced by 1/2. That means we're gonna cook it until the liquid is half gone or absorbed into the onions. And at this point, it's meat time, my friends. Go ahead and add in some ground sirloin. And then next, I'm going to add in some loose Italian mild sausage. If you like a little zip, you can absolutely use hot sausage here. And next, go ahead and turn the heat up to medium because we want to get all of this goodness cooked. Be sure to chop it up so that everything breaks up and there's no big chunks in there. I get it. I know you're already saying this is going to make so much food. But a few things. One, my buddy just had a kid. I'm going to bring some over there. This freezes amazingly well. But also, go to billyparisi.com. Doesn't matter what recipe you decide to go to. Scroll down till you get to that little recipe card. Now, run your little mouse cursor over the servings amount. You're going to see a slider that goes up and down. You want to scale this back? Go ahead. You want to scale it up and make even more? Totally up to you. This is just an easy, simple way where you can scale down or scale up any of my recipes to make it fit your needs. Okay, now we need to go ahead and prepare our tomatoes. I've got some whole peeled tomatoes, and I always like to remove any processing done at the store. I like to do it myself. So no chopped, no crushed, I'll take care of it. I'm going to put on some gloves just because I don't want you to yell at me because I'm touching food with my bare hands. I'm going to simply squeeze all of these tomatoes to sort of crush them up myself. I believe when you do this, you're going to release a little bit more flavor into the sauce. It's going to be sweeter and a lot tastier. Now, when doing this, you can also use a spoon or even a potato hand masher if you'd like. And let me stop and say, my dad found a number 10 can of San Marzano tomatoes for $4 at some little Italian spot in Detroit. He brought it down for Christmas. That's why I'm making this recipe. Be sure to find out what's on sale, my friends. It'll make this so much cheaper and so much more economical. It'll still taste amazing. So go ahead and finish crushing them up. You can take a look if you'd like to see where we're at. It's nice and crushed, looks fantastic. Now let's head over to the cooktop, and first we're going to take a little look at our ground sirloin and Italian sausage. This looks absolutely fantastic, and just as a side note, you could add ground lamb in here too, FYI there. Now pour in our crushed tomatoes that we're using. This is just gonna be so amazing of a sauce. I can't even stress enough. Pour it all in there, and then what we want to do is give it a little stir, sort of mix it in right with the meats. But I want to add a little bit more sauce here, and obviously a little old school trick. There's gonna be some sauce on the side of that bowl or even in the can. Give it a quick rinse out with some water, go right back over, pour it in there, boom, you get an extra half cup to a cup of sauce. You're welcome. Now it is time to add in some herbs. I've got some dry oregano that I'm gonna hit it with, and next some dry basil. If you remember what I always say when it comes to using herbs, you start with dry, you finish with fresh. While this sauce is cooking, all of those amazing flavors from the herbs are gonna come right out in this sauce. Turn the heat down to low, let it cook for about 30 minutes. Now what I'm gonna do is go over to my cutting board. I've got a few different cheeses. First, some Pecorino Romano. It's a nice, salty, delicious hard cheese. We are going to finely grate it up on this grater. And next, some Parmigiano Reggiano. This is gonna add a ton of fantastic, silky, delicious flavors. Got about 3 cups total. I like to do it right on parchment paper so that it transports very easily. Heading right over to that pot. Go ahead and finish off your sauce with some of this cheese. We're going to mix it in there, and then next I've got some fresh chopped parsley, which we're just going to add right in there. It's going to add color, and it's very Italian to use things like Italian parsley. I know, goofy, right? Now at this point we're going to give it a stir, and this is going to be controversial, but I'm going to add in some balsamic vinegar. Ask yourself, how good is balsamic vinegar on fresh tomatoes? It's amazing. So add a little bit, taste it, see if you need to pour a little bit more in there just to sort of accentuate those flavors. And if you need a little sweetness, hit it with some sugar, taste it, hit it with a little bit more sugar, then we'll see. And it's all about understanding these simple cooking techniques so that you can apply it to all of your food. So you can make anything homemade from scratch. I always say it tastes way better. You understand that you taste it, you season it, you taste it again. There's nothing worse than adding too much. You can't go back, my friends, but you can always add a little bit more. Now, let's talk about thickening this up. What I'm going to be doing is adding in some tomato paste. This part is totally up to you. I like a little bit thicker sauce. My dad likes a thinner sauce, and he swears it doesn't give him as bad heartburn or acid reflux. But I like thick sauces and ragouts, so I'm hitting it with tomato paste, gonna thicken it up. Last but not least, of course, we're gonna hit it with some sea salt, some fresh cracked black pepper, mix in all of those flavors, and I cannot say this enough. Sauce will always taste better over time, just like soup. It's really good today, but it's gonna be absolutely insane tomorrow. So now what? Of course, we're gonna make some pasta. Go ahead and season up some boiling water, should taste like the ocean, and add in your homemade spaghetti. I've got an awesome recipe for you. Only takes about a minute or so, and yes, you can use dry noodles. I'm not going to be upset with you. After this time, what we're going to do is simply drain it off, and then it's time to plate all this up, my friends. So now kick over to super slow motion. In a bowl, add in your desired amount of spaghetti, or you can even use angel hair noodles if you'd like. I'm not much for tossing it ahead of time, but I do like to add on a heaping scoop over top. One, I think it looks prettier when serving it, and I like to sort of just eat the sauce because, yeah, it's good. Finish it by grating on a little bit more Parmesan Reggiano, or you could even do Pecorino if you want. For a little zip, I'm going to add on some crushed red pepper flakes, and then last but not least, of course, some parsley. How about this beauty? You love what you're seeing? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Be sure to like this video if you're loving on this recipe, and I'll catch you on this next video because it is dang delicious.